A lot of people use their garages as a workspace, and some even turn them into a studio. This homeowner wants to add a workbench, but there's only one problem. There's not enough light in here. That's just because we have one light bulb. Today we're going to add track lighting, and the reason that we chose that is so the homeowner can aim the different lights wherever they need them. For the price that it would cost you to call in an electrician to rewire this garage, well, I can show you how you can do it yourself a lot cheaper. Anytime you're working with electricity, be sure and turn the power off first. The reason that we're going to be able to save so much money on this project is because I can use the junction box that's already here. All I had to do was take off this light, and I'm going to add this power end adapter for the track. That way, all of the electricity for the track lighting is run from this box. All we have to do now is wire this in. Be sure and marry the same color wires together. The green to green is the ground wire, white to white is your neutral, and the black to black is the hot, and this completes the circuit. Use a wire nut just to make the connection. When you're finished, you can push all of the wires back up into the junction box and use the existing screws to mount this to the ceiling. The easiest way to do this is to lay your track down on the floor. That way it will give you a good idea of how you want to put it up on the ceiling. The tracks come in varying lengths, but we're using 8 feet and 4 feet sections. Now what we need to do is go up on the ceiling and measure and mark to where we're going to lay the track. I measured the junction box and it was 44 inches off of this back wall, so I need to make a mark right here at 44 inches. Now because I laid the track on the ground already and got the plan that I wanted, I've measured that and determined that I need to come off my 2 side walls 3 feet and 8 inches. This will keep my track lighting centered. Measure from here, 3 feet 8 inches. Here's a tip. If you're doing this project by yourself, slide your first piece of track through the wires from the junction box. This will hold it in place for you. This is a modular unit, and you can buy accessories to expand your track if you need to. We've added an elbow piece here, and this just snaps into place. Now I can run some track lengthwise down the garage. What you want to do is find your mark, line this up, and then mark where your screws are going to go. Now that the anchors are in place, all you need to do is line up your track and screw this in through the bottom. And this is the way that you hang all of the track. Line it up, mark for your anchors, and then screw it in. I'm attaching the track to the junction box by tightening in the set screws. There's one on each side. Now, as I take this and push it up into the track and turn it sideways, this locks it in place, and now I have power to the track. As I add the other pieces, the electricity will run throughout the whole track and power the lights. This is a junction box cover, and the beauty of this modular unit is all of these pieces just snap right into place. Well, we have our track on this part of the ceiling, but I also want to run it on down here to that back wall because that's where the workbench will be, right down there. Now to do that, I need to go around this ledge. So here's another accessory that you can get. This is called a flexible elbow. This just slides and snaps in place, and with the flexible elbow you could do a 90-degree angle and you could also do a 45. So let me just put this up here and make sure it's long enough. Well, actually it's too long, but that won't be a problem. All I need to do is just mark this and cut it off. Mark it off flush at the junction of these two pieces, but actually you'll want to cut it about 1/4 of an inch shorter so that you have room to slide it on. Before I make the cut, I'm using a speed square to mark both sides of the track. This will give me a straight line for a square cut. And instead of using a sawhorse, I'm using my ladder to help hold this track. Use a hacksaw to make your cut. And anytime you're working with a hacksaw, it will take a little bit of muscle. Just take your time with this because you want a good straight cut so your fittings look better. Alright, right where I made this cut was where the mounting hole was. And I need at least 2 holes in this track so that I can mount this to the ceiling. You can see that I've got a hole at the other end that's about 5 inches from the end. So all I need to do is drill another hole at this end to mount it to the ceiling. And that looks about right there. All right, This piece fits and I've got it secured into the ceiling. Now I got really lucky because the piece that I just cut off fits perfectly right here where I need it. Depending on your dimensions of your ceiling though, you may have to cut another piece of track. What I did was attach this and add another flexible elbow, and now all I need to do is just continue running some track down this ceiling. I'm finished putting all of the track up and I've turned the power back on. Now we're ready to add the lights, and there are literally hundreds of different styles to choose from. When you're ready to put the lights in, pay attention to the prongs. See how this has 2 prongs on one side and 1 on the other? The track is the same way. This has 2 rails on one side and 1 rail on the other. So when you put this in, make sure the 2 prongs end up on the 2 railed side. Put this up in here and then turn it to lock it in place. And now you can move and aim your light wherever you need it. If you need to move your light, all you have to do is pull this piece down and slide it down the track. Push it back up, and again, it's locked into place. While everything's in place, let's see how it looks. Wow, there is plenty of light in this garage now. We put up 50 feet of track and spent less than $200, but you could spend more or less depending on the size of your project and also the design you choose. Now the homeowners can come out here and set up shop anywhere they want and have plenty of light. And that's because, remember, the lights are adjustable. That is the beauty of track lighting. If you would like more information on this project or others, contact us on the internet at michaelholligan.com.